Looking to buy a vintage film camera from Japan on eBay, but you're too scared? This video is for you. In this video, I will teach you the process for buying a camera from Japan and importing it into the US. At the end of this video, you will have the knowledge to import a mint vintage film camera worry-free. Okay, let's jump right into it and break this down step by step. We're going to take a look at the following topics: the condition of the gear, shipping it, customs and tariffs, the search for your equipment, and visual inspection via the images. First up, the condition of the gear. This is huge because Japanese sellers really pride themselves on quality. The Japanese people take great care of their gear. Seriously, it's like a cultural thing. They treat their cameras like treasures. Camera shops and resellers usually clean and check the products before listing it. US items are usually in bad condition and are priced the same or more as the Japanese products. I personally bought a Nikon F3 from a US seller. The camera looked good and was advertised as a good working example. What showed up in the mail was a non-functioning, corroded piece of junk that had been submerged under water at some point. I have bought at least 40 cameras and lenses from Japan with zero issues and have been very pleased with the experience. That's why importing can be such a great steal, better quality for the price. If you're browsing eBay, zoom in on those photos and read descriptions carefully. I'll show you some examples later in the video. All right, now we're going to talk about shipping. Don't let this intimidate you. It's faster and more reliable than you might think. DHL and FedEx are very quick. There have been multiple times where I ordered something from Japan and the US on the same day and received the shipment from Japan first. Crazy, right? Packaging has never been a problem. Japanese sellers wrap everything like it's fragile art. Usually you'll get a small origami in the box or a piece of Japanese candy. Very nice touch. It's those little details that make the experience fun. Here's a pro tip. Always check tracking and opt for insured shipping if the item's valuable. All right, the part everyone dreads: customs, tariffs, duties, and fees. But knowledge is power here. Let's demystify it. The old system was great. Anything under $800 had no duties. But of course, things change. The current customs and tariffs environment has made things slightly more difficult. Yes, things have changed, but it's still well worth the effort and cost. I would manually verify the tariffs and custom fees, especially if the seller is paying them. There could be an upcharge for handling the whole process. To calculate, use the US Customs HTS website. Here's the breakdown for a 35mm SLR film camera. The standard general rate of duty for HTS code 9006.53.02.05, which is photographic single lens reflex SLR cameras for 35mm film, that's a mouthful, is free for imports into the United States. That was the old system. Since they just changed everything, they haven't updated the book. So the recent U.S. tariffs actions related to the U.S.-Japan Framework Agreement have established a 15% baseline tariff on most Japanese imports. This supersedes the free general rate. Therefore, imports of this item from Japan are currently subject to a 15% ad valorem duty rate. There could be extra fees as well. Could be a merchandise processing fee, or MPF. This is a fee collected by Customs and Border Patrol on most imports for informal entries, okay, shipments that are valued at under $2,500. It is a set fee ranging from $2.69 or $8.06 or $12.09 per shipment. You know, weird numbers, I know. You could also get charged a carrier broker fee. The carrier, like UPS, DHL, or FedEx, or a custom broker will charge fees for their services, which include customs clearance charges or fees for preparing and submitting the necessary documentation to customs authorities, duty disbursement fee. If the carrier pays the duties on your behalf to clear the package quickly, they may charge a fee for this service. Example, UPS charges $12 if duties aren't paid online beforehand. Other possible charges, depending on the nature of the goods, there may be a partner government agency clearance fee if the other agencies like the FDA or EPA are involved. And of course, storage or return fees. If there are issues with payment or clearance, storage fees may accrue, or you can be charged substantial return shipping costs if the item is refused. So at a minimum, you'll be paying the shipping fee, any tariff, and any other fees that may apply. Do not let this discourage you. The camera will be worth it. Now, on to finding your perfect camera and ensuring it'll actually work here. It is important to make sure the item will work in the US. Think broadcast system or power, i.e., is the camera going to send an HDMI signal out that is CCAM or PAL, or is it NTSC, which is what we use here in the States? And is the charger, is it 240 volts 50 cycles or 120 volts 60 cycles? For vintage film cameras, this does not matter that much. Cameras take batteries, so there's usually not an issue between Japan spec and US spec cameras. Most run on standard batteries. Make sure the camera was not a Japanese market only camera, otherwise there may be a need to read Japanese. Search eBay with location set to Japan in the advanced search and read the listing very carefully. If it's a film camera, compatibility is rarely an issue, but for digital cameras, check HDMI output, menus, and chargers. Photos are your best friend. Treat them like crime scene photos. Inspect the items by zooming in and pay particular attention for dents, brassing, and scratches. If the item has any, move on. The market in Japan is overloaded with high-quality mint condition examples. Read the description carefully and inspect the images to make sure they line up. And zoom in. Look for dust in the lenses, wear on grips. High-res photos from reputable sellers are gold. When you're searching eBay, the best thing to do is to just go straight for the advanced search. Okay, and we're going to enter what we're looking for. Let's look for a Nikon F3. That sounds good. Now we're going to check a few more boxes down here. We're going to go down and we're going to go to located in, drop this down and locate Japan. All right, so now we're going to be looking at things from Japan for specifically Nikon F5s. And we'll sort by time ending soonest just in case there's some auctions in there that we might be interested in. And we'll hit go. All right, so here's some F5s. Now, the best thing to do when you're searching is to look immediately right here. I'll look at the camera, say, yes, I might be interested in that. Then I'll look over here. This dude has a 99.5% positive rate with 205 sales. I'm good with that. That would be somebody I'd be interested in. If you look at this one right under it, though, looks like a decent camera from this shot. Price is a little bit lower than some. And here you've got the guy's name, and he has 0 positive feedback and only 23 sales. I'd shy away from that one. This guy looks good, 100% positive, 176 sales. This guy, really good, 99.6% positive with 1,900 sales. So I would definitely be interested in some of those cameras. Let's look at this one real quick. So right off the bat, I'll always look at the main picture first. And this one looks pretty good. I mean, it doesn't look terrible. And then I'll look over here. Just see what they've got. Let's see if there's anything weird with shipping. So $30 with eBay Speed Pack expedited. That's not bad. Then here's the key thing right here. This item includes applicable import fees. You won't pay anything after checking out. Now then the question is this got the fee built into the price that we just saw, or is this going to be tacked on to the price we just saw? Yeah, so that's something you'll definitely have to look at. So if we look down here at his page, his specs built in on this. You know, it's got the usual stuff, right? Condition, used, and items been previously used. Okay. Normal boilerplate stuff that's put in by eBay, to be honest with you. But here's what you want to check on. Okay. Near mint, minimal signs of use. Okay, that's a good sign. Finder, it's in very good condition. LCD is in good condition. There are no contaminants such as dirt, dust. There are no scratches. One thing you may want to look at too is when you look at the pictures of the LCDs, particularly like on an F4, F4S, if you look at those inside the finder, sometimes you'll get the bleed in the LCD and you'll get a black spot over some of the stuff. You want to shy away from one of those. Body, there's no problem with the lens focus. Everything seems to work here. And he just goes through and he's got everything listed out. Tells you what's included with it, which is basically just the body. And then it tells you right here that it's not paid. So it's kind of opposite of what it said up top. But typically, if you look, like they'll say that in the US, the tariff is paid. So you just got to pay attention to that, because this is probably just some boilerplate they didn't update, but he did put it on the listing. And then, of course, you got feedback, and this guy had 100% feedback, so that looks really nice. So now we go to the pictures, okay? I'm going to zoom in, because the places that you want to look around the pentaprism, okay, up in here on all the edges of the pentaprism will get skin up, okay, around the button here for the shutter control in the top plate on the camera. That side will get scuffed up, and this side will get scuffed up as well. Okay, look for the grips peeling off. Okay, the rubber comes off these cameras when they get a little old if they've been abused. If they haven't been abused, they'll last a lifetime. Okay, so let's check. Here's a good shot of the top, and if we zoom in, if there's any touch-up paint here, like if they had a brassing spot and they touched it up, you'll see it in the picture because it doesn't have the texture built in. They'll typically just do it with like a black Sharpie or something, but it will show up. It's very subtle, but you will see it. And then let's go. When you're looking at the top this way, look at the LCDs if you're looking for one that has an LCD. If you're looking for an FM2 or an FE2, you're definitely not going to have an LCD. Look for the numbers being rubbed away, the markings. Always look at the shutter curtains to see if there's any kind of crease or indentation or anything that looks wonky, because you definitely don't want that if it's messed up. Okay, pressure plate is not that big a deal as long as it's in place. And then here's the bottom. The bottom is always a telltale sign of a hard life for a camera. If it's been, abused, set down hard on concrete and things like that, this will be abused. And like right here, there's a little scuff on the plastic right there. Little discoloration here and there. Little mark right there. Looks like there's a little bit right in here, but this is in fantastic condition, it looks like. I would not hesitate buying this for $369. And then if you throw 15% on top of that, plus any other fees, you're going to get by pretty reasonable. You're going to be under $500 for an F5 that's in mint condition from Japan. So that is definitely something I would be interested in. Now let's go look at one that's not so good. Here we go. All right, so let's find one that looks like it's been abused. Normally you can find one that's got like a lower price on it, and that'll give it away. But see, some of these $600-700, but they could be a late model, or like this one includes the MF28 data back. So you just got to look and see. Some will have a lens. Right there, $9.99 for a late model. And that's with the box and everything. Let's look at this one for $3.99. Doesn't look too awful bad. But that's what you're looking for, any marks on it that shows a sign of abuse. And it's typically going to be around these edges. And if they can remove the finder, some of the cameras have removable finders like the F5. If you pop that off, you can look at it and see if it's scraped up on the bottom from being forced on and off. I did buy an F4 one time, and you couldn't take the finder off. It was so abused. But it was only a $100 camera, so this doesn't look too awful bad. And the price is definitely right, $3.99. And that bottom plate looks really nice. A little spot right here and here. Otherwise, it looks good. This would probably be a good buy. And this is really nice. If they give you the serial number, like this is the serial number for the finder, and showing you which one it is, because there are different finders. So that's a good thing. And if you can catch the serial number for the body and can verify that that's the right vintage and everything, that's also good. But yeah, this one right here would be pretty decent. And if we go down, yep, it says this item includes applicable import fees. So that's a good deal, $3.99. Question is though, what if let's see, price details. $39.99 or $399.99 with $80 for shipping. Estimated total $474.99. If that's including the tariffs and the import duties, that's a good deal for an F5. I mean, they were running around $275 to say $350 for a really good one before the tariffs. I think I paid $300 for mine, and this is not a bad price if that includes the duty. You're still getting a bargain because that camera. Let's look for one in the US real quick. Where's our advanced search? Nikon F5, and we'll just do US only, and let's see what we get here. Here's one that says it's working, but they didn't test it with film, and they're asking $345. And if we look at this, okay, you can see this thing has had a hard life. It's got some battle scars. It's missing the cap in the rear. What about in the front? It's got the one in the front. I don't think I'd buy this for $345. What about you guys? Let's go back. Let's see. That looks like a stock photo. This is one that somebody took, and he's asking $699 for it. Let's take a look. Got a little something right there going on. Something right there. Might just be dust though. That don't look too bad, but I don't think, a little something right there. This is still not as good as the one for, 450 that we just looked at from Japan. Got stuff in the back going on right there. Overall, I would say the Japanese models are much better and priced way more competitively. All right, here's one for sure with the lens. Oh, that thing's in rough shape. Okay, so with a crappy lens, you just want to throw that away. Yeah, this thing has been, as we say in the US, rode hard and put up wet. Yeah, I wouldn't buy this at all. That's in pretty bad shape. And let's see what they say. Works fine, but has some signs of wear throughout. Comes with lens and strap. Yeah, they can keep it. So, hence, buying one from Japan. It's a much better deal. Finally, let's cover common pitfalls to avoid that buyer's remorse. For the most part, the Japanese are wonderful and very trustworthy. But of course, there is always one that ruins it for everyone else. Make sure you read their feedback and reviews. If their rating is not 99 or higher, move on. Warranties might not transfer internationally, but when we're dealing with an old vintage camera, that's rarely an issue. But if you were buying a newer digital camera, make sure, because Nikon will not warranty anything that was not destined for the US market. Fakes are rare from Japan, but cross-check serial numbers if it's a high-value item like a Hasselblad, and use eBay's buyer's protection. It's solid. Planning a trip to Japan? Watch our next video on buying a camera there, tax and duty-free. See you later.